Well, I'm Don Stevens, and with me, as always, is David Beard here on DSP Sports. How you doing this week, David?
I'm doing great, Don. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome. I am doing awesome because right now, to this day, the NFL lockout has not prevented a single game from occurring yet.
No, and they're even talking now about with the draft. The players may even show up at the draft. So until May or so, and they're going to be releasing the schedule in April as normal. So as of right now, everything is still normal. So that's good.
That is good. And now that we got the NFL lockout labor discussion out of the way for this show, we can move on to something else.
Okay.
We can move on to something else. We can move on to this. And once again, this is where the politics kind of bleeds into sports. We don't cover college sports here on DSP Sports. We probably never will. Maybe someday someone will come along that wants to do that, and they'll do that. But until then, we don't. The question I'm having now is that should we continue to have March Madness even though people are dying on other parts of the planet?
Yeah. So, I don't know. After 9/11, as Americans, we kept playing sports. So, yeah, I think so. After Haiti, we kept playing sports. So I'm okay with that.
Okay, so here we are now. After 9/11, Haiti, Katrina, and everything, we kept playing sports. So are we willing to give Obama the thumbs up to fill out his NCAA bracket for the tournament? Are we okay with Obama for doing that?
Yeah, it's fine. He's the president of the United States. Regardless of what I think about him, I'm okay with that. And as long as the same people who say people who are upset, or the people who are saying that it's okay, as long as they were okay when Bush was president, if Bush had did that, then they're fine too. I think there's a double standard sometimes, but since he is the president, I have no problem with him filling out a bracket.
In other words, what it's coming to is that even though there are problems all over the world, because even when it's not as big as Japan, and when it's something that's not like a tsunami and nuclear reactor meltdown threats and everything, there are always people suffering all over the world every day. And sports, that's our escape.
Yeah, and plus, if it was Katrina and Bush was filling out a bracket or Obama was, then people would be pissed because he's in charge of that country.
Did you know during World War...
As sad as it is about Japan, it's not our country, so we got to continue to do stuff here in America as well.
Did you know that during World War II, Major League Baseball wanted to shut down? But the President of the United States says, no, baseball must go on.
Yep. And the week Kennedy was shot and killed, pro football kicked off. I have scheduled on Sunday.
Do you know why? Because things like this calm the masses.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I'm telling all y'all out there this for a reason. You still need to pay attention to what's going on, and I would like to encourage every single one of you to go to the Red Cross or whatever reputable charitable organization is out there. And I know that we're in tough economic times. I can't give a lot myself, but give what little you can.
Agreed.
And now that we got that out of the way, what are you going to watch? Now, I understand. I said that we were done with football. But let's say football. We're at the beginning of the season and football doesn't start. What sport are you going to watch? Are you going to watch soccer? Are you going to watch rugby? Are you going to watch cricket? What are you going to watch, David?
I'm going to watch NASCAR because I'm excited about my picks this week.
Short track, excitement at Bristol.
Yeah, it's good. I'll tell you what, man, I'm really getting into NASCAR because I think they took the week off. They did 3 weeks, they took a week off, and last year they did 4 weeks, took a week off. So I think it was a little too soon this year to have an off week, but I'm excited about it this week. I think it should be fun. Bristol is this big cement coliseum, and it's just really cool racing, and you can get laps. Literally, I've seen Kyle Busch lap people like 15 times in like an hour. It's crazy.
Well, I know that Bristol is anyone's race because there's wrecks at Bristol, and if you manage to just not get wrecked, you could find yourself in the top 10 where you normally wouldn't. It's almost like a fuel mileage gamble at some of these larger tracks. You decide to stay out or you decide to get fuel when other people do or don't, and then next thing you know it, you find yourself in the top 10. Well, there's not a fuel issue at Bristol, but there is an issue of the fact that the track is so small, there are 40-some cars on the track, and as long as you don't wreck, you could find yourself in a position that you're not used to being in.
Yeah. And like Jimmy Johnson, the last few years, has been in the lead, and Bristol has been in the chase, and he is scared of Bristol when he's in the lead. So you'll see the guys that are like ahead in points towards the end of the year, if it's in the chase again this year, because they usually run there twice a year. They actually will fall to the back, and the whole race, they'll just race behind everybody so they don't crash, so they'll finish in the top 20 and not screw up their championship thing.
Babies.
Yeah.
Babies, that's what they are.
Smart babies, because the money is huge if you win the championship.
Babies. All right, well, go ahead. Wait, no, this week it is my turn to do the picks first. So I'm going to go ahead right now and give you all my Bristol picks so that you...
Yeah, go a little slower than you did last week, man. I missed like 2 of them, and then one of them I was like, oh, man, because he almost won.
Okay, well, here we go. My picks in no particular order of finishing, all right? Casey Kane, Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, Juan Pablo Montoya, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards, Trevor Bayne, and causing the wreck this week will be Martin Truex Jr. And the reason why I'm picking Trevor Bayne is because, like Daytona, Bristol is unique, and I expect him to finish in the top 10.
All right. You know what we're waiting for, Don?
What?
The winner.
Oh, you want to know the winner? I was hoping I could chintz out and see who you picked and cheat, but I guess not. The winner.
You can do that. You can do that next week, Don.
The winner will be. The winner will be. Oh God, this is a tough one. Are you ready? Yep. Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Ooh, that is a tough one.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to break his streak.
You screwed me, man, because I figured you were going to pick one of the 2 guys that, and I was going to pick the other one this week. I was like, all right, I think he's either going to pick Kyle Busch or Tony Stewart, so I'm going to pick the other one.
I really wanted to say Tony Stewart, but I decided that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to break his streak this race.
All right, well, here we go. I am going to start with my top 10. I'm going with Kyle Busch.
Okay.
Carl Edwards. Tony Stewart, sore loser Tony Stewart. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jimmy Johnson. Kurt Busch. Jeff Gordon. Denny Hamlin. Clint Boyer, and Kevin Harvick. And this week, Matt Kenseth will cause a wreck.
So you said Boyer and what? And who?
Kevin Harvick.
Harvick. And who's going to cause the wreck this week?
Matt Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here.
All right.
We'll see. Now, if you want to participate in the DSP Cup...
Hey, hold on. Let me pick my winner.
Go ahead.
All right. I would normally pick Kyle Busch because this is his track and he does so well on it, but I'm going to, just because Tony Stewart was so dominating last week, or 2 weeks ago, and lost the race because of a bad pit decision, I'm going to go with Tony Stewart.
That's fine. Kyle Busch won't even finish the race. That's what I'm telling you now.
Okay.
But that's not for points. That's just my opinion. You know, he's just not even in my top 10. If you want to play DSP, the DSP Cup, NASCAR picks, fantasy type league, you can go to our Facebook page, DSP Sports, capital DSP, lowercase SPORTS, and send us a message about who you want to win the top 10, who you think will win the top 10 at least, and who you think will wreck the race. I am looking forward to Bristol, and I think that we'll have a lot to talk about after that race. Well,
I'm
Dave,
excited about it. Gus is excited about it. We're going to drink some beers and watch the good old boys go around in a circle.
You know, this is the day race for Bristol. Apparently, the night race is a extreme party atmosphere.
Well, Bristol is my second or third favorite race. My favorite races are Talladega, Daytona. This race could be in front of Daytona, but Daytona's new racing is pretty cool. And also, it's what's the one? Richmond, Virginia. Short track racing too. It's fun. So,
well, now when it comes to the NHL, a league we don't talk about nearly as much. I don't want to get into deep conversation and whatnot, but I do want to talk about the St. Louis Blues. They are in last place. They've lost 2 in a row, and they're 1 game above 500. Is there a hope in hell for this team?
no, and in fact, last night I was reading, I forget the owner's name now, but his name, what's his name? Anyways, he is actually going to sell the team now, too. So it's going to be rough the next couple of years, and I would not be surprised if the St. Louis ends up losing to the Blues.
That would just be weird.
It would be weird. It's really disappointing because I'm not from St. Louis, but the history with the Blues and St. Louis is it's huge. I mean, there was a period of years and years and years where the Blues did not miss the playoffs. Like, you knew they were going to be in the playoffs every year, and it's really sad that they could not have won the Stanley Cup at least once during that time.
Well, you know, they talk about the Rams.
I think that's the name. Checkers. Or something Checkers. That's the owner's name.
Well, the Rams, they always talk about them going back to L.A. or them doing, leaving St. Louis or whatever. And it would be bad for the city if we lost the Rams. I'll agree with that. But the Rams have only been here really a drop in the bucket in time compared to the Blues. And I think that would be an identity crisis for St. Louis sports if that were to happen.
Yep.
I know that there are people that still hate the owner of the football Cardinals for taking them away from St. Louis.
Bidwell.
Yep, Bidwell. Yeah, a lot of people hate that. So it's good to see them above 500, and I hope they can maintain that through the rest of the season. At 31-30, I don't know if they'll be able to do that or not, but for a team that was always competitive in the past, the last couple of years have been a nightmare.
Yeah, but since I've been in St. Louis since 2003, I don't think they've been very good at all.
Yeah. Well, we have the NBA as well. We have got Boston in first place right now, and they look like they're on their way to glory. I'm going to pick. I'm going to say right now, just like you did with LA, Boston will be in the finals.
And I think you're smart holding off for a few weeks after I made that pick because the East is much closer than the West, so I think that was a smart hold off.
Yeah, I think that Boston is going to do it. You see, they've got Chicago got the same record as Boston.
Well, that's what I told you a couple weeks ago. My prediction was, I didn't make a prediction, but I said don't be surprised if Chicago gets in there because they're really good. Yeah,
I've pondered this. There's been much pondering on whether or not I want to come out and say that my home team when it comes to the NBA is going to make the finals, and I really do think that they can do it. I really do think that they can do it. I also think that it's very possible that Miami could be eliminated early on.
See, here's the thing about Miami, Don, is I think that they have so much talent, and to be honest with you, I don't know how this sounds. I think they're lazy, and I think that have so much money and have so much fame that they're just not playing up to what they're capable of. That's why I won't count them out, because when the playoffs come, that talent, they could just win the whole thing and not lose a game if they can actually focus. So,
and I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. But I'm saying that it's very possible to see them eliminated early on. It's very possible.
I agree, but I just don't think it's going to happen. They seem to step up for big games.
When the Titans come lumbering up, and if it gets to their head and they lose, like say they lose the first game of a series, and that's going to mess with them. The problem is going to be is that if LeBron James thinks that they're going to lose, the tears will well up in his eyes. He won't be able to see the basket, the goal. He won't be able to see the goal, and all the tears will get on the floor, and all of his teammates will slip and fall on him because he's a baby.
I think it's pretty safe to say that there's like 8 teams that can win the championship. In the East, it's either Boston, Chicago, Miami, or Orlando, and in the West, it's L.A., Dallas, San Antonio, or Oklahoma. Those are like the 8 elite teams in the entire NBA. So I think the championship will come from one of those 8 teams for sure. The Lakers, I think, will be in the finals, but if I had to bet on any 8 teams, those are the best 8 teams in the NBA.
Well, you're probably right. According to the NBA.com's playoff picture, the Miami Heat versus the Knicks, the series is tied 2-2. If Miami goes up against the Knicks, they've got a series tied 2-2. So basically, what they're doing, they're not calling it. They're not going to call. They don't know who's going to win that one. It's close. So I mean, this wasn't part of my research. I'm at the website right now and just clicked on it. You know what I'm saying? So so they got the Boston outpacing the Pacers, and Chicago head on head with the 76ers. So they've got your leakers. What is wrong with me tonight? I swear I've only had 7 beers. They have the Lakers going. No, I haven't had any beers. But the Lakers going up against Portland and winning 2-0. So it looks like a competitive picture. It looks like that both of us could be right. I just seem to think that it's going to be the Celtics versus the Lakers. It's going to be a rematch of last year, and I'm not prepared to say who's going to win yet. But I will have this answer for you in the next couple of weeks.
Good. And at this point, I'm still going to hold tight to the prediction I made in the beginning of the year, which we hadn't started the Don Stevens or this show yet, DSP Sports, but I said Lakers Heat, and in the beginning of the year, before any games, I thought the Heat, there's just no way they could lose. The talent is unbelievable. But I have now put it back into the middle column where this could go either way. So I'm still sticking with Lakers Heat.
Just think of how wet the court's going to be if it's Lakers versus the Heat, and the Lakers win, and Kobe Bryant's crying, and Miami Heat loses, and LeBron James is crying. Just think of how wet the court's going to be and how much of an OSHA hazard that will be.
Hey, Don, I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
If Kobe Bryant wins his 6th championship, beating LeBron James, Wade, Boss, the greatest team of all time, can he finally get a little Michael Jordan love?
I wish he would. But here's the fact: we didn't really find out that Michael Jordan was kind of a douchebag until he retired for the first time.
That doesn't matter, though.
And listen, it does. And a lot of people have this thing in their mind that Kobe Bryant is less than a perfect person because.
You're right.
Of that whole thing, so that he's got to combat that. Maybe after a 6th championship, he will be able to combat that. I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time. For David Beard, I'm Don Stevens. We'll see you next week on DSP Sports.